Today we're taking a trip down to exotic protein town for a big bite of a big bird. But not, not the big bird, just, you'll see. Today's sponsor is Filet Culinaria. It's a James Beard award-winning food destination with tons of articles, recipes, podcasts, videos, you name it, it's there. Check it out online at filetculinaria.com. So today we're talking about ostrich, and this is an Animal Planet, so we're not talking about really the bird, but instead the bird as a protein. Ostrich meat is a red meat that's low in fat and can basically be used in any recipe that calls for red meat like beef to produce awesome results. Now, ostrich meat is really similar to beef in its flavor profile and even its color, but as I said, it's very low in fat. In fact, it's lower in fat than beef, chicken, or even turkey. Nearly all the meat from the ostrich comes from the leg, thigh, or back. Sorry men, the ostrich is flat-chested, which means no breast meat for you. Even though the ostrich meat tastes like beef, it doesn't have the same marbling of fat that beef has, which means that the meat cooks up really quickly, so it's prone to overcooking. So you gotta get in and get out fast, otherwise your ostrich meat is going to overcook. Ostrich is a meat that you can actually get locally. There are a lot of ostrich farms all throughout the United States. It's worth taking a trip to your farmer's market and investigating if you have an ostrich farm near you. Today I'll be cooking up the ostrich loin, which is from the back of the ostrich, and it tends to be a very tender piece of meat. In fact, on other animals they call it the tender loin. We're going to cook it up with a sage, wine, and blackberry reduction. First, finely chop up a shallot and a few sprigs of sage. Now put some olive oil in a heavy bottom pan and add your shallots and a little salt. Sweat this out for about 5 minutes. Keep the temperature over low heat and then add your sage. Let this cook for another 2 or 3 minutes. Now increase the heat to medium-high and add 2/3 of a cup of chicken stock, 1/3 of a cup of wine, and 1/3 of a cup of blackberries. Bring to a boil, then drop the heat down to low. Let it simmer for about 8 to 10 minutes or until the sauce has reduced by 2/3. Now pour the sauce through a sieve to remove all of the berries and the shallots and the sage. And put your sauce back over the heat. Then make a slurry out of about a teaspoon of cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of water. Mix this up and add it to your sauce. Let this continue to simmer over low heat and watch as it thickens. Now season your ostrich fillet with salt and pepper. In a skillet over medium-high heat, add a knob of butter and a squirt of olive oil. Let this get really ripping hot. Now add your ostrich fillet and you should hear an immediate sizzle. Cook it for about 3 minutes on one side until it's brown and flip it over to the other side for about 2 minutes. And it's done. I'm using some celery root puree, which we covered in a previous episode of WTF. Check it out. Then add your cooked ostrich, some of the sauce, and garnish with some blackberries and sage. Enjoy. So that's a little bit about ostrich. If you stumble upon this wonderful protein, give it a shot. I'm sure you're gonna love the results. Tune in tomorrow for another WTF, and if you're watching this on iTunes or YouTube, please rate it highly and leave us a positive comment. I will see you tomorrow.